Trader, January 6th, 2026. Closing out, I didn't close out the day as of yet. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning, but I'm up about close to 600. I was above 600 a little bit earlier, but I got shook out in this, I think this area right here before the turnaround, and then I caught basically most of this and made the little loss back, but I didn't catch the chump change because I made basically 600 today. But here we are. So right now we're looking at the 15-minute chart, and I'm trying to catch a reversal here after this sell-off. The morning opened up strong, and then we lost momentum here. As you can see, the thickness of the candles, this is all Wall Street money. And then it thinned out, which means they stop putting in buy orders. And so here you see the sell-off and the take profit coming in. So they're taking profits. And also what's happening here, they're taking profits, but other people are putting in sell orders at the same time. So that's where you get these momentous candles that come in. And right now, we're having a bounce. So guys, you always want to consider this area where the pin is as a green area, almost like one of these candles. It's just reversing. So we might look to take a position here, but right now I am waiting for the time to almost end. It's a minute and 48 seconds left in the candle, and right now we have our two moving averages on the screen. The red line represents our 200 moving average, and this multicolored line, green red, represents our 20 moving average. Now I do use a few other moving averages, but just for the sake of simplicity, we're going to just keep to these two for now. So again, we're imagining this area being green, nothing but green here. And so what I'm actually waiting for is for either this candle to pin out, sort of like a candle like this, very small body and a large wick, and possibly a green confirmation candle begins right next to that. And if it can start sustaining itself within the first minute or two and not come back red, then I'll probably enter. But reasonably, you want to get your entry closer to the line. So you want your entry more here. You want your entry here, as close as possible. My entry this morning into the trade was right here, at the top of this box, basically. I entered the trade here, I exited within this struggle wick, and I bought back to this side, and I exited here. Could have got it all the way here, but I didn't have the confidence in the trade because I just kept messing with it. So here I've added another moving average, a thinner line. That is the 13 moving average. And that is a level of support that I'd look at to see, is it going to bounce off this 13 area, eliminate all of this red, and together with this wick and this green, that would signify a bounce to me in the stock. And I would then have an entry here with hopes that the stock would run up to about the previous high. I'll take profit somewhere here because what'll happen most of the time is you'll get a runoff, especially if it doesn't make a significantly new high. Then you're definitely headed back towards that 20 moving average, which would typically be somewhere within this zone here after a while. All right, as you can see here, we've been broke towards the downside. So now it's going to actually set up for a more favorable trade for us, because now we're getting it closer towards the area of a bounce that we would, prefer closer to the 20 moving average. Closer to your moving average is going to always deliver the power. This is a sell on the downside, and you have a power candle. So somewhere where you see all these small candles, and I see this sell off, and it's so strong, somewhere in here, I'm jumping in to the downside, and I'm catching this, right? I see the wicking out, which is green, and it's turning into a pin candle, I'm out. So you would basically catch most of the trade. So basically, you're pretty much grabbing the trade from there to there, from here to here. And you can make $500 in that small space within a day. It's just a few minutes, 15, 30, 45 minutes. And yeah, you could have made $200-300 being um, trade what I call trading scared, which I do a lot of the time, because when you're building an account, you want to protect the money. That's the name of the game. So If you're being conservative, you can trade a small amount and still make a large amount, which is basically the art of this game, is to risk little and make a lot. So just reviewing this again, I entered somewhere about here into this trade, and then I exited about, somewhere in the fall here, in the initial red, I exited. So I would say I got this whole candle here, this whole 15-minute candle. It took me about a little over 40 minutes. 30 minutes to get closer to 40, 45 minutes. But I got that, and then I took a trade coming exactly out that same zone, just on a reversal, and I exited here. And I actually didn't bid a lot on that because I already made money for the day, so you don't want to walk away with less than you already made for the day. So because I already made money here, I bet a little lighter coming back this way and just scoop some money up. So now, right now, I'm just kind of playing the markets. I could walk away for the day, I made a good amount of money, or I can sit and look for opportunity. Right now, the name of the game is elimination. So when green eliminates red close to the moving average, whether it's the 20 or the 200, the stronger moves are going to come from the stronger moving average. So the 200 moving average is always going to deliver more power than the 20 moving average, but still a strong moving average. So here you have green eliminating red and money. You have red power eliminating that tiny green bar. Forget about the wicks. The tiny green bar is being eliminated by all this power. So you dive into that and it delivers for you. And so even though I could have played it a little stronger, it's days I'll make $2,000 on the same play, $1,000 depending on the strength of the investment into the play. But as of this year, my goal is discipline, and so I'm playing it a little more conservative than last year. All right, here we are now starting to develop some power, which is what we want to see. We want to see that power, but we also want to watch the time. It's 7 minutes left in the candle, and sometimes you have to have discernment whether to hop in or not based on how much time is left in the candle, and also how much power the candle is displaying at a time. Now, we've already crossed this bar, so I would want to enter legitimately. But sometimes you enter too early here and you catch a pullback and you're like, dang, I could have had a better entry, even though I know the power is heading this way. So sometimes it's best to wait. Now, this is a 15-minute candle, so it's best to wait until about the last 2 to 3 minutes into the candle before entry. So let's see how that works out for us. Now, as a trader, especially a brand new trader, to this, you have to understand that you can be tempted by the candle. Look how beautiful that looks. It's just the fear of missing out. Oh my God, that candle's so beautiful. I'm missing money. And in a sense, you are missing a little bit of money. But in comparisons of the space versus time movement, you're not really worried about that. Now, it is 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the candle, but again, you can have some strong pullback. So we want to just hold out for a minute. A lot of the times I do use multiple time frames to watch a stock. I'll use the a three spaced time frame. So if I'm using a 5 minute, I'll also watch it on the 15 and the 1 hour and so forth. So um, right now I'm just playing my time frame. So it's more just strategy and price action based. So here we have a little consolidation in the wick of the candle here. Just kind of that pullback that I expect. I wanted a little bit more deeper pullback so I can get a good entry in here, but we'll see how that works. 4 minutes left in the candle out of a 15-minute candle. That's still a good amount of time, but the reason why we wait closer towards the end of the candle is because we want confirmation that that strength is going to stay there and it's not just a pump fake. Like here, you had all this red and all of a sudden it just backed up. So you don't want to get caught into that. You want to get caught into these areas. Now, solidifying a nice strength like this from this area, which we know is green, and then pulling into this 13 moving average, which is a little less than a 20 moving average. So it's showing you growth away from the moving average, which is okay, because that's where we want to grab it. 3 minutes left into the candle. It's almost not moving if you look at it, right? Because now all of Wall Street is thinking, it was selling off hard. Is this a bounce? And see, still not moving. Time is ticking. 3 minutes and 19 seconds. But the Wall Street money has froze. What's going on? Hold on. Sell off has stopped. So everyone recognized the same situation, right? So now if we want to, I mean, it's still a little early for me, but I'm gonna go ahead and just drop in. I'm gonna go two.
Order filled.
Uh-oh, network issues. And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Had some connection issues. So here we are, coming out of that big bull candle. And like I said, we waited right into it, and I was having issues at the time, so I couldn't show you guys. But as the candle ended, it started wicking out, and that's the hope and dreams that you would be stuck in up here in the trade, with now the trade reversing on you because you didn't wait. So you're in a negative at this point. So that's why I like to wait till the end of the candle to determine, is this real strength or will they fake out the strength in the end? Okay, so here we are, a new 15-minute candle is starting, and we're pretty much just going to analyze the patience of the game. Oh, I'm actually in a trade. Hold on, let me flat that. I don't know how I entered the trade.
Order filled.
Oh, I could have made a couple hours, but nope. That's Satan. Watch out for Satan, guys. I don't know. I must have clicked it during the time I was having interruptions with the service. But anyway, that happens, guys. A lot of times you're trading prop firms, you will run into those issues. So here we are. We have green again attempting to eliminate right now. We are bullish, of course, but what I'm looking for is this area to be cleared, and this will actually become my stop loss area here. And I'll just try to ride the trend back towards the high for a small gain because I've already made money for the day. So I don't want to come out here and get greedy or stupid. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think I know it all is what you are versus a know it all. So you never know with these markets. And just because you think you see something, don't mean it's actually there. All right, so what we're going to do now is kind of establishing where our risk is going to be, which is typically I like to go one candle. So if we're looking at this as the candle to beat, that's the low. And once we enter our candle, our stop loss should go right under the wick of that candle. And sometimes I like to give it space. If I'm only trading a little bit of risk, then I like to give it a little bit more space under the moving average. That way, it's almost like a boxing rope. It'll press against that and bounce out of that area. So let's just give this some more time to kind of show us some power and eliminate this area right here, and then we'll try to look to take a position. And just again, we always watch the time, right? We want to enter the last 2 minutes to, I would say, even minute and a half of the 15-minute candle, regardless of how powerful it's acting, anything. Even this candle, well, you'll be a little too late here, but the last 15 minutes of this candle, last minute of this candle gets you a good entry and a nice run. The last minute of this candle, because we're still close to the moving average. Here is too much of a space away, so it's not really the best entry, but even at that odd, you still would have gotten a nice run. Here we are. Come on, baby. Give us some money. See, it's starting to eliminate that zone, but I want to see it officially do it. Sometimes you'll have these things give you hope and dreams and then fall right back to this 20 moving average or even under. See, look at it. Acting weak. Let's just give it time. Let time do the heavy lifting, guys. just checking back in. As you can see, we since the fake out, nothing's happened. So it's basically trying to figure out which direction it wants to go. As far as the banking institutions, big money, they kind of know, but they're playing the game. So that's what's happening here. You have this runoff. It's still in a good percentage to give you a small bounce, but I'm gonna expect a bounce from this zone, probably even smaller now, but you'll never know. But based on the last three candles, so about the last 45 minutes, it's kind of been dead since the sell-off. So I want to see what'll happen. It might be a small pullback, and then it might actually break through the moving averages and try to head down. That's a possibility. Or we might see a bull run towards the upside. It just all depends on what happens. Our job isn't to predict the market. Our job is to react to it. So let's wait and see what we can react to. All right, guys, I stepped away from the screen for a little bit, but as you can see, I came in and I saw a little pump here, and by the time I said, "Oh, snap in," try to see if there's going to be position based on time, look, melting away, melting away. It could still push from this area because it is trying to overcome this red on the 20 moving average, and we are in an uptrend, but we still want to give the candles time, and we want to give the relative zone of turnaround time to actually happen. So we're playing the space and time game right now. All right, so be back again. right, we're getting some momentum here, and we're 1 minute in. I'm going to drop 2
Order
on the
filled.
table, and I'm going to protect it right under the bar.
Order submitted.
So it's about $80. Not really what I want to risk for real, but um, the candle seems to have sufficiently um, overtaken the sellers. So let's see how this goes. I don't believe in a very long run on this, so I might get out very early. I'm just scalping extra right now, but we do have green eliminating red, and let's see what happens. Let's see how the run goes. If it does happen to create a higher high, that's significant. So somewhere in relatively in about this zone or so, let's get it as close as possible, just for realness. Say what you know say about that. If it could get to that height on a new high, then I would hold the trade. It's the 15 minute. Yep, I'd hold the trade for a small amount of time into the afternoon, but we'll see. Also, this is what I like to see, guys. You have that flow of market. You see where we had a run up here coming into the 200, I mean the 20 zone, and it kind of thinned out and sold off into the 20. And we had a 20 MA halt here where it bounces. Green eliminates red with a significant amount of power compared to the three previous bars, and then follows up by even more power. And yeah, you're in there. You could get into this bar, you could get into this bar protection under the 20 and up, and then so you have the flow of market happening here again where we came down and we're kind of coming out of that curvature zone to push back towards the upside. Again, we don't know how far the upside will be. It can give us a market law 4 here and crash, which is technically how I knew this was returning because I actually looked at it like this. This was the run. Let me highlight these. This was the run, and then the small pullback, which a lot of people ignore. I've just recently learned to pay attention to those things. Then a bounce to where the candle started, right? So that's the market law 4, hidden market law 4 here. And then it breaks. Now notice, as soon as it breaks that neckline, just like a double top, a market law 4 is a double top or a double bottom. So just as a double top, it broke and sold off, and I make profits coming up this way and this way safely. So that's pretty much how I got about 600 out of the market already. And this run up here, we can add a little to that run and end the day out. Really, I don't like to be in the market until the afternoon because markets tend to shift, and it can really be tricky. But this seems promising, and we've already had the sell-off basically end here. So for the last hour, the sell-off has practically been over. So let's see what the next 2 hours brings us, or hour. Who knows? we're starting to get some push to the upside here. As you can see, where I kind of predicted the bounce would be, I'm feeling like that might be a little young, so I'm going to kind of readjust that. Again, I am still not hoping for it, but looking for a market law for scenario to possibly happen in this area because of the previous high and because I think I'm smart. But if it doesn't happen and it pushes forward to a new high, we just take profits and exit the game. Or you can try to be smart like me here and get a mini market law for here, or a double top for you guys who call it something different. So here's a micro double top, and we will be looking for the macro double top to happen in relativity to that. So let's see if I can highlight that for a second. Alrighty, so as we said, this was the micro double top there, and then we're looking for a macro or larger scale double top here before the fall. Now, we are bullish, so don't get me wrong. This is an incompetent thing to really say. It should really come back about halfway and then continue on. But I still like to look at it in that way to consider it that, so I know the sell-off is coming versus expecting this super long run to the upside. So right here, guys, based on the movement of the candles, as you can see, we're not getting any dynamic power to the upside from the bulls. I can already tell that the area that I even suggested as far as the breakdown, what happened, was possibly even more correct, and I just adjusted it. But here we are. That's pretty much what I see, and I think it's gonna fail from here. It could keep going though, but I am gonna
Order
exit
filled.
only because I just wanted to get back above 600 for the day while showing you guys just how to kind of predict the direction of the market based on a turnover between bulls and bears. You know, here you are at the top where you had basically no more buying power left from the bulls, and then bears took over, and then you could just catch that flow down, and then you don't get caught in the candles early by waiting until the very last minute of the candle, and then here you have the run. So possibly it'll push back down into this area, and possibly it'll run past this into a new high. Um, Having some deja vu right now, which is crazy. But yeah, we'll see what happens after hours. But for now, I'm signing out. That's the day. 6:20 on the day. Amen.